Hi everyone. Today we're going to get onto a topic that I promised in my last video, which is how to cope with when you're not feeling good enough, and some tips and tricks to sort of get you through that space. We all go through that. I think anyone would be lying if they felt that there were times in their life where they haven't felt like they had enough knowledge, or they had enough skill set, or they had enough strength of will, or emotional stability to feel like they were always functioning at their highest. So I think it's something everyone can relate to, but for some people it's a really inhibiting issue, particularly with the mental health pandemic, we could say, that we have going on in our world. So I thought I'd just give you some tips, 10 steps to help you when you're not feeling so good, and to work it through. And I think it's really important to remember that this takes effort. It's not just a magic wand to fix things for us. So we have to commit to changing our mindsets as well. So number one would be just acceptance and understanding that everyone goes through this. So don't feel like you're alone. I think if you realize that it's a worldwide phenomenon, it's a human natured reaction to when we get pushed up against something that we have some fear against. Everyone feels that way. So don't feel alone. Accept that. But there's also that part of, don't sit in that mindset of misery. Don't band together and go, oh well, if a friend's saying she's not good enough and I'm not good enough, and then everyone sits there in self-pity, that's not going to help either. But understand everyone does go through it. Also, second one is concede that your feelings aren't concrete. You have to know that this can change. If you don't believe that this can change, this will never change. So if that is like the foundation step for me. Really coming to an acceptance, whether you believe it or not right now, that you can change these feelings, and in time, or based on other changes that are happening in life, that this feeling of not being good enough will actually move on. Number three is discernment. And I think that's really, really critical in how we evaluate ourselves. We can get into not only self-doubt and thoughts and feelings that we put on ourselves and how we compare ourselves to others, but we also listen to other people a lot. So we have to be really careful as to what we take on board from others, and understand where some of those opinions or comments that they may be making about us are actually reflections of themselves, or jealousy, envy, that we really, really be discerning about what feedback we're getting from other people. And only really move forward with that feels really aligned. In saying that, there are times where we don't want to hear what other people have to say, as valid as it is. So try and be mindful of that as well. So once you've sort of set that foundation of acceptance and understanding and reviewing what's going on, it's time to actually reevaluate some areas of your life. And I think if you try and face everything at once, that becomes really challenging. And it's really important to just narrow down to a couple of things that seem to be more of your key, or they might be one key and one sort of easy win, so that you feel like you can gain some traction. So sit and look at the areas of your life that you don't feel good enough in, and write these down. Don't just have a thought in your mind, because it can be really important, not only in the process of doing it, but also 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, decade down the track, to, if you do write these down, to go back and review that, and you can see how far you've come as well. So I think it's really important to take that time and not be afraid to work on ourselves like we would work at work. So such areas that you could look at are relationships, career, pretty standard, spirituality, our physicality, how are we feeling in our bodies, the environment we live in, how does that make us feel? Is there a peacefulness to it, or are we in chaos because our bedroom is, has clothes strewn all over it, and piles of books, or whatever that may be, dishes undone in the kitchen, like myself right now. Our family, our education, children, philanthropy, how we're giving back to the world, what meaning we feel like we have in our life. Find two. That's it. Find two, focus on those, and understand why you might not be feeling good enough in those. And some of the questions that you can ask yourself are, am I being true to myself? Do I feel like me in that space, in my relationship? My neighbours just started mowing, so let's see how this goes. Does it bring me joy? Does it make me happy? And if it doesn't, why? It's really important to ask the why. Don't just ask the question, ask the when you get the answer, then why is that the actual case? And obviously the obvious one, why don't I feel good enough? And as you delve into that question, you'll just get layer upon layer come out from there. So just keep asking that why question after it. It's really important to also understand what you're missing out on. Like, I think that's a really important question to ask yourself. Not only if you don't feel good enough, that what does it feel that you're missing? What would make you feel good enough? Don't just ask, I don't feel good enough because I'm not, talented enough, or I don't have the confidence, or someone does it better. And it's, what is the feeling that you want and that you're missing out on? Okay, so number 6 is sort of just touching on that, then actually review the answers, and you have to start writing an action list and take action. Nothing's going to change if you don't change it for you. No one can tell you you're pretty enough, good enough, loving enough, caring enough, if you don't believe it and you don't start taking actions to actually move in that direction. So little steps are the key to this. Unless you have a big urge to do a big change, I'm all for that. I've done that many a time. But little steps are equally as important and help us get to our goals. And acknowledge them. Acknowledge the little steps. Acknowledge the little wins that come with them for what they really are. Feel really happy for when you've decided to step out of the house on a given day when you didn't feel like it. That's a tiny little step, but it's a massive mindset change that you should be proud of. That if you felt like staying in bed all day and you didn't, congratulations. Number 7, so is discover your bravery. So take off the mask. We all wear masks at times, no pun intended, but it's really important that if we can't be true to ourselves, and we can't be true when we're around the people that surround us, then we're never going to feel good enough. So that does take bravery, and that might be that you can only do it with one friend. That you can just go, I can't be this way anymore. I really need to tell you who I am and how I feel, and I don't gel with that group of people anymore. That happens a lot when people are awakening on the spiritual journey, where everything shifts. Your relationships, your friendships, your desires, everything starts to change, and it becomes quite uncomfortable to sit in situations that you once loved. And then that makes you not feel good enough as well, because you were totally confused and feel like you're missing the point of everything. So it's really important to just stand up and be a bit brave at this time when you are feeling like you don't feel good enough. I know that feels hard to do. 8, accept you will have dips. This is never going to be smooth sailing, and you can feel amazing one day and absolutely pitiful the next, and that's cool. So just ride those waves. Don't feel like you've fallen off the wagon, or that nothing's going to change, and hit back into that sort of depressive mindset. It's equally important to go, okay, yeah, that didn't work, or I didn't really feel good today, so be it. Or this week, or that month, it's fine. We medically can't always be perfect, and yeah, don't let that stop you. Don't let that really stop you in your tracks. Okay, so number 9, stop and sense into how an outcome feels after you've had a positive action, because if we've acted in states of self-doubt, a lack of self-love for a long time, it's really hard to actually recognise that those feelings that come with positive change and positive actions. We can often just sail past them without realising the changes we've actually made. So I really, like I said earlier, encourage you to write those down. So at the end of every day or once a week, just take a moment to go, okay, these are the areas of my life I was going to work on for this month, 2 months, year, whatever that be for you. And what did I do this week that saw change, and how did that make me feel? They're those things, if you've got them written down, that you can reflect back on them when you are having those down moments, to remind yourself why the up moments are worth it. And yeah, number 10, keep going. There'll always be moments of self-doubt. We all have it. To me, you're about to, whenever you have those moments, you're really pushing against barriers or limiting beliefs that you have yourself. So see them as points of expansion in your life, rather than, oh, here we go again, you know, God, I'm hopeless at this. If you flip the coin and realize, okay, so when I'm feeling like that, I'm being challenged to step up, and I'm being challenged to act a different way, and I'm being pushed out of my comfort zone, and work out, are you comfortable with that? Is that where you want to go, and that's why you're feeling that fear? Or is that just, you know, it's actually a signal to you that you don't want to go there? But don't feel this, I'm not good enough, this lack. Stand in your power and step up to that. So my little treat today, I just went for a walk, and I saw a koala up in the tree. They seem to be quite happy and out and about in our area at the moment, which is just amazing. And I was going to walk you up there, but that's a little tricky for me because my phone's not working properly. But I've done a little video. And the reason I bring this up now is that when I was starting my business, obviously not being good enough and self-doubt was a major thing for me, stepping out like this. And I had a lot of serendipitous moments at that point around koalas. I've not even seen one in the wild at that point, even though they're all around us, as it appears. And you might have seen in some other videos, I do have a koala print, which was my 40th birthday present last year, which was it's my sign. I can look at that and go, yes, I am good enough and I am going to do this. But at that time, I also channeled some information on the koala energy. And I just thought I'd read that now, and I'll flick up the little video of the koala for you, because it's so relevant to this whole feeling good enough about ourselves. So maybe you might want a little koala in your room, whether that be a painting or a print, or just a little, I had a journal as well with a koala, lots of little things that just really help bring that energy through. Or just keep watching this video. Koala is a sanction unto herself. She is rivaled by none in her sense of self-worth. She is your fierce companion for complacency and compliance. She will open doors, create bridges to new worlds. She serves you in truth and honour. She is your deepest companion. Life without koala would be chaotic and complex. She provides you order and sustainability of wonder, strength and servitude. Koala is here for her ability to magnetize the magic. See you next week.